Word on this. Hello, my name is Charvonne Carlson, and I am the director of Church of Peace, the Spiritualist Center. And today, this is the kickoff of our new YouTube series, Let's Talk Spirit. With me, I have Angela Gunshore, Secretary of the Church of Peace, the Spiritualist Center. And first, we're going to start with just telling you who we are and then a little bit about ourselves. Angela, you go.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Angela Gunshore, and I have been probably involved with spiritualism since I was a child, and always interested in knowing more about spirit and how to connect to spirit, being spiritual. I actually was drawn to spiritualism as a religion probably in my 20s, like around 2021. And that's when I really was able to kind of learn and train more on how to tune into spirit and understand all the different things that come with spirituality, in the sense of focusing on what I am as a soul and a person. Through it, I really got to know a lot of people and learned from them and understood what they did, and kind of developed my own way of communicating and understanding what it means to be a spiritual being in a human experience. I just evolved over time with that. Academically, I kept trying to learn more, studying whether it was history or psychology, and trying to understand patterns and how people evolved. And I am a social scientist by career, but what I want to say is, being a spiritual person, it just has made my life so much better, living that way. And so I'm here today. I'm a part of the Church of Peace, and just want to continue to serve spirit and be a part of this. So I'm excited that I am here, and I think that's all I really have to say right now.
Okay. All right. And I have questions to ask you, but I'll do it after my intro.
Okay.
So I have come up doing some form of connection with spirit in some ways since I was a little kid. Let's see. I think the first real memory or impression was I was about 8. I might have been a little bit younger than that when my uncle transitioned to spirit. Everyone was at the hospital because he was having a surgery. And I felt I was home with a babysitter. And because, you don't take the young kids. And I felt it before my mother walked through the door to tell me that he passed during the surgery. And I just looked at her and I instinctively knew to not say, well, I already know. We already said goodbye. Instead, I said, oh, and I went up to my room and closed the door. And so while she was probably thought I was upstairs grieving, I was actually upstairs playing with my dolls because I wasn't scared. I wasn't upset because during his transition phase, he came and saw me. And I saw him and I was able to talk to him and I felt fine. And also I'm a young child. From that point on, I always knew I was I always knew I was psychic or had extreme psychic abilities and connection to energy. I've always been fascinated by psychic work. In my later years, not later years, but in my teen years and into my early 20s, I worked for a psychic eye bookshop in LA, right across the street from Venice Beach. And came in contact with all types of beautiful, interesting spiritual beings and souls. I had one specific psychic mentor who was mentoring me through my psychic and learning how to do tarot readings and what have you. And then from there, I just always would give readings if people asked, and I just give it to them. I was never ashamed of it. And interesting enough, every Halloween I was a fortune teller slash Spanish dancer or some sort. It was the easiest. First, so I always thought it was the easy slash witch. It's the easiest outfit to put together with your clothes that you have. Um, and I would actually give readings. And I remember a few years ago when I first moved to Milwaukee, I was a member of a medieval reenactment group. And maybe my second event, they had a pirate ship and they wanted to have a psychic reader up on the ship. And I was like, I'll do it. What the heck? Because again, I'm dressed in my fortune teller,
Yeah.
outfit. That's all I had to fit in. And I made the payment that you had to tell me a joke and I had to laugh would determine if you got a real message or a fake
Oh, interesting.
one. Just trying to keep it light so that because sometimes I would get heavier things about people. And we're in a party like situation, people are drinking, I really didn't want to like, I didn't want to give those deep readings in that environment. So if the joke was really good, you got a really cute but real reading. And if the joke was bad, you got a real reading but made it sound like it was fake. But it wasn't fake. So nobody ever got a fake reading. They just don't know that. And then fast forward to about 6 years ago, I stumbled to my former church, First Spiritualist Church of West Dallas. I was doing homeless outreach. We were looking for a warming station. They agreed to be a warming shelter. I saw a pamphlet about spiritualism. I had never heard of it. So what was interesting about this is that here I am working at the Psychic Guide bookshop, reading all of the books that they have there, and nothing about spiritualism, about that there were spiritualist churches.
Right.
And that you could be a member. And apparently during that time, there was a ton of spiritualist churches in LA. I knew not a one of them. And here I am in that metaphysical environment and no one ever said a word to me about it. I believe spirit, leads you where, they bring it to you when you're ready, so to speak.
Right.
And so from there, I became a member of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, which is shorthand NSAC. And about 6 months or so ago, I restarted the Charter Church of Peace, the Spiritualist Center, where I'm currently the director. And our mission is to really bring diversity, inclusion, and a real wide and open understanding and appreciation of spiritualism and how it can enhance your life and living by the tenets and the rules of it, along with development and classes on education. And outside of that, my major in college was philosophy. So I'm always asking questions. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell of what I had. But Angela, I did have one question for you. I'm sure I'm going to have more as time goes on as we talk. You were talking about how as a child you came to spiritualism. So maybe elaborate a little more on how did you know there was a spiritualism to come to?
So I was blessed to come from a very diverse family, and both of my grandmothers, my maternal and paternal grandmother, were very supportive of helping me develop. But my paternal grandmother is from a reservation in Canada. They used to be called Mud Lake. They're now Curve Lake. In 1920s, there was a lot of treaty issues. 1923, I believe it was the Williamson's Treaty, kind of kicked them out if you were biracial. And so my great-great-grandmother took all her children, and her father was originally from Pennsylvania. So she moved to Pennsylvania. And when my grandmother was being raised in the 20s and 30s, to put food on the table, my great-great-grandmother, who was very much a medium, turned to Lilydale in New York and also other places like that. And she was known as Ma Haynes and would give readings. And she would also A lot of people saw her for not just mediumship, but psychic. And so my grandmother was raised in that environment. So when I started showcasing some of the traits that she saw with her grandmother, she would often say to me, oh no, you're Isla reincarnated or something like that. And so when I was about 16, I had a lot of things happen, and I went to my grandmother and she mentioned about spiritualism. And she said, my grandmother was involved with it. At the time, being a person of indigenous, it was against the law to practice indigenous faith. So a lot of them turned to spiritualism because it allowed them to deal with the spiritual aspects of their religion in a religion that was accepted. So that's where I went. So I wanted answers. And I also wanted to get to know my side of the family that had this. And so I started researching and doing stuff and meeting tons of people that were teachers at the time up in Lilydale. Joined a couple different churches in my area, started doing the mediumship. But as far as being, in the psychic, when I was a little girl, it got so bad, I would just spit out information, and I didn't have filters. So sometimes some of the stuff I said could have been kind of, premonition wise or whatever. And it kind of got me in trouble a lot of times. Like, where did you hear that? Don't gossip, One distinct memory with my maternal grandmother, I was 9 years old and she was brushing my hair in front of the mirror. And at the time, as she was brushing, I got real relaxed. And all of a sudden, like a movie screen, popped onto this mirror. And in it was what I knew was my eventual wedding someday. And I remember giving descriptions to my grandmother. And I said, and the bridesmaids were wearing red at the bottom. And I had this child in front of me, and I believe she's my daughter, walking in front of me. And the person at the end, he looks like Clark Kent. He has green eyes, dark hair. He's really, really tall. I remember saying all this stuff to my grandmother, and my grandmother, all she kept focusing on is, you have a child, before she got married. But, fast forward, almost 27 years, kind of thing. But anyways, literally, that's exactly what happened. My spouse is 6'4" and green eyes, dark hair, and he wears glasses like Clark Kent. And my 9-year-old daughter was walking in front of me before I walked down the aisle. So it was exactly as I had said to my grandmother. And I remember my grandmother listened to me. She didn't tell me. Other people, like when I would go run and say stuff like to my mom's like, oh, you're such an imaginative child. But my grandmother actually believed in this stuff. And she often told me some of her relatives had that ability. She had an aunt that she was named after named Frances, and Frances would often predict things that would happen. And Frances obviously lived at the turn of the century. So when spiritualism was really popular. Mm-hmm. So my grandmother really encouraged that, and certain groups were like, hey, Angie, pick the winning numbers, or, stuff like that growing up. Right. But I just kind of went through the flow, and growing up in high school, I'm sure you probably had situations like this where, you would kind of warn friends, don't date this person or watch going to this place, and some of my friends in high school just said, oh, Ange, but it got to the point where I needed to listen to me. And I need to listen to spirit. So that's what really pushed me to spiritualism, is to have that one-on-one relationship with me as a spirit, connecting to the spirit world. And when I say spirit world, it doesn't just mean God. It means, whatever is your understanding. And for me at the time, my mother raised me Catholic. So, I was trying to figure that out. And as I just kept evolving, I just realized it's just beautiful energy we can tap into. And I just wanted to learn more and more. And now I'm to the point where I'm teaching. So it's gotten full circle for me. Right. But yeah, I do owe it to my heritage, but I also owe it to the support of people that didn't discount me or didn't say, oh, maybe we should. The fear a lot of people in this field are they being respected and accepted? Are, they being validated? Especially when we first start, it's that understanding that we're all at that point where spirit is part of us. And we just need to acknowledge it and learn how to tune in and attune to others and just spread that love, right?
Right, right.
So I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that really does answer the question. And I think for me, um, there was a point in my mid-20s. My life was in my drama of my mid-20s was falling apart. Nothing made sense. There were difficulties and challenges in my personal life that were happening around that time. And I remember thinking, I'm done with this. I got rid of all my tarot cards. I got rid of all the crystals. I actually joined a church, a couple of them, quite a few of them. And I remember thinking that all this ever brought me was heartache. Like the more I opened up to spirit, the more I was doing, and this is mostly when I was being psychic, because I didn't. Another thing is up until recently, I didn't know anything about mediumship. I didn't know what that was. I never heard of the term. Yeah, I'm working in the psychic guy bookstore. No one ever talked to me about it. Uh, but I knew all about being psychic. And I felt like my psych, and the more I developed, the more I worked in my psychic field, it seemed like my life was just falling apart. Like everything kept getting worse and worse and worse. Obviously, this isn't for me. And I'm tired of all of this. And it took some time for me to realize that, well, and now looking back on it, I was in my 20s and I was kind of freewheeling it out there because I that was who I was. I was that person that if you asked me, I was like, oh, we'll try it. An example of that is I got mad at my mom about something. We had an argument. And I next day went back to the university, went to the travel agency and bought 2 one-way tickets to Austria for me and my baby at the time. Packed everything we owned and moved to Austria for 3 months. I was slightly impulsive as a person in my 20s. Let me just say, no, I was fearless. Um, so throwing it all out and saying I want nothing to do with it. But obviously, I came back, and part of and the coming back to me has more to do with spirit putting me in that church that day.
Yep.
Because at that point because I had joined different Christian faith organizations, and don't get me wrong, I know nothing against them. I just didn't feel that aha moment. That feeling of like, this is me. This is how I feel. This resonates. This is how I think. And I never got that from the different Christian denominations, churches that I attended. Um, because I'm just not big on the whole judgment, and I'm not big on that you have to wear a certain thing or you have to look a certain way, you have to comb your hair this direction. I don't have that kind of free time. And maybe, but either way, they were welcoming and whatever. It's just the aha moment wasn't there. And being a philosophy person, a lover of philosophy, we are actually very hard pressed to accept anything anybody says, as that's it. we constantly think, wait, we call it a chair, but why do we call it a chair? And are you sure it's a chair? Maybe we could have called it a stool, or maybe it should be a table. Yeah, I can go there. So I distracted a little bit, but what I wanted to say, the point I'm trying to make is that by coming back into the spiritualist church in a spiritualist environment really helped me start the development and understand that some of that growing pains, because that's what it was that I was going through, but without any type of mentorship or without any type of understanding. So I had no one to turn to when things got hard or when things got scary, and who would turn to me and say, that's part of your self-development and growth. Because the more you grow in spirit, as I know now, the more you grow and develop to connect and work with spirit, and the more you grow and expand and connect working in your psychic energy, which I believe it's all the same. I believe we're working all in the same sort of soul energy field. And then we can get into that in a couple minutes, the difference, or, the difference without a distinction kind of thing. Um, the more you have to look at yourself, the
Right.
more unpacking of your own biases or your own
Mhm.
stunted growth or your own. I mean, do you have anything like that you experienced?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I grew up, like I said, Catholic, going to Catholic church, and growing up, my brother and I often were the first to get in trouble. I spent literally from fifth to eighth grade in the nuns principal's office, and I got to know her, and I got to show her a little bit about what I could do, I guess. And I remember they were really focused on trying to get me to the nunnery, which is kind of funny. But when I would think about where I could find peace, serenity, or acceptance, it was never really with the church. But something happened when I was 16. My step grandmother was dying, and we had her in hospice. And I would come home from high school. I would actually walk from my high school to her place because I had a bunch of friends that lived near my gram. And my mother would always be there, and I would sit with her to give my mom a break. And one time she was near death, but I didn't see it. And I was talking to her, and in the area, she had her sister Mary, a couple other people. And I remember I'm having a conversation with people that other people couldn't see. In walks the priest. And Monsignor Bible was a constant visitor with my grandmother, coming to say the rosary and prayers. And I'm sitting here and I'm talking and I'm having a full conversation with my gram. And he literally just freaked out, and he pulled me over the side. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Talking to my grandma. What, like, why are you doing this?" And to him, he didn't hear any of that. And he said, "Angela, your grandma can't talk anymore. She already had the death rattle." And I'm like, I had no clue what he was talking about because I heard grandma. So later on, him and I sat down and talked, and he asked me if I was doing drugs, and I said no, and then he said, "Angela," he said, "not many people can do what you do." And he said, "You really want to work hospice. Would you think about going into a convent?" It was a really good convent. I said, "No, that's okay. That's not for me." He went and even talked to my mother. And that was the first time it took for somebody outside of our family. I mean, her mother talked to her, my father, my biological father's mother talked to her, but it took for the priest to say to my mom, "This is extraordinary that this child can do this." So then my mom started paying attention a little more and was like, okay. And then it got to the point where as I kept evolving, I kept losing people in my life, and that rejection kind of hurts a little bit, but yet spirit kept reassuring me that I would find my people,
Right,
and I
right.
would get accepted. But I too also took a break, just like you did. I think I have talked to many people that are on this road, with the same road we're on, and they also had to take a break, whether it was family or just not finding their place yet, or just they were taking the longer route. And for me, I finally took a break after I got married and had kids, because I just couldn't give energies to all these things. Spirit had been a part of my life since I was a child, had gotten me through some of the hardest times in my life. I mean, knowing and feeling spirit around me was a part of my being. But then I had these children, and I wanted to give them as much energy. So I took a break, and I missed spirit. So I asked spirit, I said, "If you really want me to get back into this, lead me to where I need to be." And so that's how I got here.
Right.
But yeah, no, there was times where it just, the obstacles sometimes seemed almost too bearable. You would just want to throw in the towel, between the nuns either not believing me or that, and then later on arguing with people. Like some people in spirituality want to make you into mini them. Like
Yes.
you have to do it A, B, C, D, or you're not doing it right. And my spirituality, since I was a child, I always let spirit lead me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when spirit would say, Angela, does that feel right to you? And I'd say,
Mm-hmm.
no. Well, then why are you listening to that person? It has to feel right to you. It has to resonate with your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. I went through all that, changing how I viewed everything just so I could fit whatever guru I was paying at the time. But there is still, you need some organization and control. You need some guidance.
Right,
You will
right.
find who you are as a psychic or a medium from just observing and learning from others to develop who you are. But, it was hard because I got in trouble a lot. Like, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, right.
Don't
And
think that.
I think too is the validation. So let's talk a little bit about psychic before we get deeper into that piece. Let's talk a little about what is psychic,
Okay.
and how it expresses you in your life or in each other's life. So, like for me, psychic is the ability to connect. Moving into the person who's sitting in front of me that's on this side of the veil, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it. And getting an opportunity to get information that even though they probably already know, they're not paying attention to, and bringing that information to them in words or in a way that hopefully, because that's your hope, that they can understand or they resonate with and go, I see. That makes sense why I might be stuck on this or why I'm not going on this or what have you, whatever the situation is that they're coming to have a reading with you for. And then giving them the information while also reminding them that they have personal responsibility and they have and it's free will and that it can change on a dime.
Right.
So I kind of let's go over a little bit about the difference between psychic and prophecy. Because I feel like sometimes there are people who go to a psychic reading looking for prophecy. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely. And the thing about that is so you know how in different sections of the world, one word can mean multiple things. And I think that's the issue. So I purposely went to the Oxford Dictionary to see what they said about these definitions, because I wanted to see what I knew. And what you said is similar to what I believe. But I also want to add in there the energy fields. Your energy fields have all your emotions, all of your memory, and so when people tap in to heal you or when they tap in to do psychic readings, it doesn't have to be on you. It could be in the energy that you're emanating from your soul. And so
yes, exactly.
Right. But the Oxford Dictionary says relating to
For what word?
faculties.
Which word are we?
Oh, sorry, psychic. Relating
Okay.
to faculties or phenomena that are apparently inexplainable by natural law, especially involving telepathy or clairvoyance, relating to the soul or mind. And then their number third is a noun, and they said a medium. That's Oxford Dictionary. Remember, that's UK. Now, prophet is a person who makes claims or predictions. So then I went to predictions or premonition, a strong feeling that something is about to happen. Okay. But then I thought, over time, psychics have been called other things, like seer. Right. We always hear that in old vernacular. So a seer is a person who's supposed to be able, through supernatural insight, see the future. Then there's the word oracle. We know that from ancient times. It's a priestess or a priest who is a medium. That's the definition in the Oxford Dictionary.
So do they define medium?
A person who can do phenomena. Just simple.
Interesting.
If they didn't go into talking about dead or anything. Soothsayer. I haven't heard that. That's like,
I haven't heard that one in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Is a person who's supposed to be able to see the future. Fortune teller. We all know everybody wants to claim most psychics are fortune tellers, but that is a person who uses tools to see the future, such as crystal,
tarot deck, oracle cards, crystals.
They also added palmistry to that one, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
But mainly those were the definitions. And I thought to myself, well, no wonder why people are confused.
But you know what, though? The back up a little bit to the psychic definition. What I found interesting is when that doesn't conform to natural law
Mm-hmm.
or can't
Not
be,
many
or is
people
it
understand that.
conform or is it can't be confirmed by natural law?
It says inexplicable by natural law. So unexplainable by natural law.
Right. So, and if you, and in spiritualism, we believe in following natural law, that everything has a natural law
Right.
and that everything happens in accordance with natural law. Nothing, we don't believe in magic, so to speak, or, the definition of unexplainable phenomena that's happening and it cannot be explained. We believe all of it can be explained. We just may not have access to the knowledge of how it's happening. So I find it interesting that in the dictionary definition that they actually use the term natural law for psychic.
Right, but I also think it's because it's Oxford and spiritualism is still really big over there.
So did you look up Webster's version?
No, I did not. No, I did not.
So let me look away from the screen for a minute and let's see Webster definition of psychic.
I mean, I guess we need to have another Let's Talk someday just on all the natural laws and explain what they are.
So for Webster, it's or relating to the psyche, psychogenic, lying outside the sphere of physical science or knowledge, immaterial, moral, or spiritual in origin or force, sensitive to non-physical or supernatural forces and influences, marked by extraordinary or mysterious sensitivity, perception, or understanding.
Ooh, that's
an interesting, different way of defining it than Oxford.
Yeah, big time.
So it's almost like Oxford is trying to say there's no way psychic could be a thing, but Webster is saying, well, it can be a thing, and here's where it lies. And one is going.
No, I was just going to say, I think more and more scientifically, we evolve technology to prove these things, such as there is an aura field. There is the ability to have some type of psychic ability based on the research and studies. I think the more and more we get to that point of understanding consciousness, subconsciousness, superconsciousness, people will see that the Webster's definition actually is almost right on.
So going back to the original question, psychic versus predict. Remember how I said I feel like sometimes people come to a psychic looking for prophecy,
right?
And not. So you want to go over a little bit about what psychic is to you versus prophecy, or is there a versus prophecy?
Well, psychic for me again is tuning into the person. Merging our energies together and whatever that person is feeling or doing at the time, and then going in a little bit deeper to find what is also part of their soul, and then kind of just going with whatever spirit is leading at the time. So if their soul wants the conscious person.
So when you say spirit is leading, are you talking about their spirit?
I think it's a merge of both. So it would be more their spirit, obviously, talking and telling me what to tell them. What I want to say though is, there's profilers too. So people can just look at the body images, the hands, the eyes, that kind of thing, and kind of guess, oh, this person's, having a hard day or whatever. And that can happen. But when you're psychic, you're actually doing the psychic inside the psyche. So you're going also into the consciousness, into the soul, subconsciousness, super consciousness, some people even say. That idea of going inside the energy of the person, merging the energies. So because in the end, we are energy, we are a spirit, we are vibration. So reading that vibration or that energy, you're able to access information of that person. Obviously, you have to have their permission,
right. Oh yeah, consent, people, consent.
Consent. The other thing is they have to open up to you. Now, the other thing is when somebody is like, I don't believe in this, My faith doesn't require me to believe in this.
Mhm.
How do I know it's not something bad? So they're already going to have block in front. So in order to do a really good reading of a person, the person has to open themselves to also be accessed.
Okay.
And of course, ethics, we go to your philosophy, right? And we know a person that is a psychic has to respect that
Mhm.
soul, love that soul, and do it in a respectful manner. So psychic is more of a personal one-on-one. When I think of prophet, I'm thinking more on a global scale or
Mhm.
events. We think of some prophets that come out and say, I believe the economy is going to do this, or this is going to happen in
Mhm.
2024. That is somebody who's doing something for all people, or that will affect large groups of people. That's in my mind what a prophet is.
Okay. And I think for me, psychic, I agree with how you're explaining psychic. I think what I would add to that from my own understanding, at least when I'm doing psychic reading, is I'm also tapping into what it is you need to know right now in the moment
Mm-hmm.
to help you get through this moment.
Yep.
Like, what is the information? For example, I always tell the story about I gave a reading to someone who was really upset with me because I didn't give them what they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes to a psychic for the three things: love,
Yeah.
marriage, finances,
Mm-hmm.
or not marriage, but love, finances,
Relationship.
relationships, and
Right.
there's another one. But anyway, so am I going to be rich? And this young person came to me for a reading, and I told them, um, that's not right now. What you need to be focused on is going to see a doctor because you're having stomach issues. And they were just, that's not what I asked. I'm like, but this is what you need to know right now in this moment. All that other stuff is irrelevant right now, because right now you're having stomach issues and you need to go see your doctor. And then they got up in a huff and left. And I was like, whatever. And a couple months later, a mutual friend of ours calls me and says, I just wanted you to know, because they will never tell you, you were so spot on. They
Mm-hmm.
went to the doctor, and it turns out they had, I guess, this had to be the early stages of identifying celiac or
Oh, okay.
or something. Well, no, not celiac. The early stages of finding out that some people can't process meat without
Oh,
stomach. They actually have, their stomach just couldn't process it. And
oh,
it turned out that his body couldn't, especially red meat, that
right.
he needed to give up red meat because that was part of what was causing his intestinal
Mm-hmm.
issues. And then later on, years later, a friend of mine told me that she found out that she had the same sensitivity, not on that level where she had to give up red meat completely, but where she has to eat fresh, like she has to know where the cow was raised, how it was raised, whether any hormones were injected, because the hormones or whatever treatments they might have used on the cattle affected her intestine, her gut health. But if
Oh,
she
wow.
but if she had a farm rate, was it farm raised, or
Mm-hmm.
where they only eat the grass or whatever, it didn't cause her problems to eat red meat.
Mm-hmm.
And so she didn't have the same issue. So anyway, that was an aside. But so psychic to me, for me, and how at least when I do it, I am more looking at, and I think that and just to also back it up a little bit, I think each psychic kind of focuses on what works for them and what's strong for them. So for
Right.
me, my strength lies in, I'm about telling you what you need right now in this moment to help you navigate your current situation, whatever that might look like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when someone says, "Oh, am I going to get married?" I don't know. Are you? Because I'm a firm believer in free will.
Right.
So I could tell you you're getting married tomorrow.
Right. So
And also,
one,
I'm also a slight skeptic myself. So if
right.
you tell me I'm going to meet a man tomorrow, well, if I go to work every day, I'm probably going to meet a lot of people. Probably one of them's going to be a man.
Right.
That doesn't tell me anything.
Right.
So I also that's the other way I kind of, for me personally, in like I'm going to be focusing on what you need now versus giving you these predictions,
Right.
because I believe with psychic readings they can change. Now, don't get me wrong, I have met some people that are spot on when giving future readings about what's coming up next, what they see for you coming up.
Right.
For example, I got a reading from this excellent psychic medium, who said to me, "You will be working from home." And I was like, "There." And if you, the nature of my job at the time, there was no way we would ever be working from home. Every other team in the world would be working from home. The world would end before they would let us work from home. So, so there
Well,
was no way that was going to happen. And then 2 months later, I was working from home. And I was, so what I'm saying is that there are times where, well, there are those that can boom, boom, they see it.
right.
And there's no question about it. But what do you think of that though? Is that more of a prophecy, or can there be something that's so set that way?
Well, in psychic work, you're not only reading their present moment, but you're also giving them inspiration to get over whatever obstacles or whatever led them to come to you. Because think about it, most people come or go seek a reading or psychic because they're in some type of turmoil, obstacle. Something is bugging them or making them nervous of some sort. So they come to a psychic to literally get over that issue, or to find some type of path or purpose or whatever. Now, what was funny is, while I'm working with spirit this whole time, especially starting in my early 20s, I also had to put food on the table. And obviously I wasn't going to go set up a psychic stand, because
Right.
most people that work in psychic, they're either doing the psychic fairs, which don't pay anything, or if they're lucky, they actually have an own office. But I ended up going and I asked Spirit, where can I help the most? So I started working in career counseling and loved it, because as I'm tuning into the person in front of me, they're desperate sometimes to find a job. They're on their last unemployment check or whatever's happening. I tune into their soul and I see their, like, what their spark, what they want. So I'll say to them, like, I'll give you an example. I had this one gentleman, his spouse wanted him to go into education. And I said to him, but that's not something you want. And the gentleman said, but it's something my wife thinks I would be good at. I said, but you know what you're good at. And all of a sudden it opened up for me. I kept seeing him being like a manager. I saw him walking around and coaching his people that were under him. I saw him, typing up reports and then having meetings where all these coworkers. So I saw him in a managerial role. And I said to him, I said, project management, something like that. I said, I see you working and coaching people, because what a real manager is, a leader is, they bring their people up. And I said, they inspire. And his eyes lit up and he said, yeah. He said, can I do that? And I'm like, yeah. He ended up getting a really great job. And since then, him and I still keep in contact. He's moved to 2 other different companies now, and he's really way up, but that's the thing. It's sometimes we listen to other people and we don't want to, displease them, or make them upset, especially parents. So I used to be a counselor also for teens, and I would help them with college and career planning and that. And I remember this one kid, his parents really wanted him to go to college, but he really wanted to drive truck and he wanted to be a truck mechanic. So I found him an actual 2-year program with Caterpillar, where he went in, he ends up getting an associate degree, but works for them and gets paid at the same time. So he had no debt. And he got to drive truck and become a truck mechanic, and he just absolutely loved it. But again, It was just using spirit and having spirit lead me to where it would benefit them. So it was using the psychic, tapping into who they are. Was I being a prophet? No. Okay. I wasn't saying, I foresee you working as a diesel mechanic. What I did is I tuned in And I saw him, I asked Spirit to show me what he was doing. I saw him with tools. I saw him with the big hood up on a
So the
truck.
practicum, bringing in the practicum, which is what I was saying, like, I'm going to bring you what you need to know now to get you
Right.
through this situation. It may feel like I'm prophesizing, but it's
Right.
not prophesizing as much as this is what your energy is saying about you. And if you decide
Right.
to move in this direction, you will find the answers you're seeking and give you that comfort or whatever it is you're seeking right now in this moment.
Right.
Right.
The other
Whereas
thing
prophecy,
too,
and I could see that too with prophecy. For me, prophecy is always, like you said, I always see it as more of a global statement, not a individual statement.
Right. Now, the one thing I want to back up just a couple seconds here. You had brought up something medical, and we want to do a disclaimer here that under no circumstance are we doctors, or are we trying to be doctors.
Which is why I said, go to a doctor.
Right. But there are times when you read people's energy and you see they're depleted, or that there's something they're ignoring. And I had the same situation happen to me. I had a coworker at one time, and every time I saw him, I just felt really drained. And when I tuned in, I saw his heart. Finally, I said, you need to listen to me really carefully. And he just looked at me, I said, you don't look well. Go get a physical. And sure enough, he needed open heart. But the thing is, it's kind of weird to go up to somebody, and say, hey, but at the same time, if I would have not gone there with this person, he would have kept working, probably work himself to death. And that's the thing. Sometimes, and we don't have to, all of us are psychic. That's the other thing I want to clarify. All of us have a spirit, a soul inside us. That soul is connected to a greater source. Whether you call it God, infinite intelligence, source, creator.
God of your understanding.
Exactly. So with that being said, all of us have this ability. If you're a parent and you could be in another room,
that's where the eyes in the back of your head come from.
You sense if your child needs you. If you are a soldier and you just get the vibes, the back of your hair, the hairs on the back of your neck standing up, then you are getting a gut instinct.
But to go back, I'm going to interrupt a little bit, but to go back into the ethical part of this is that we are not doctors. We don't have medical degrees, and we should never, ever diagnose anything. So when I told him, I need you to see your doctor because I'm feeling like something's going on with your stomach. I don't know what it is because I'm not a doctor. Go see your doctor about it. That is not I'm not diagnosing him with anything. I'm not telling him what's wrong with him. I'm just saying you need to see a doctor. And if you come across someone where you don't, like, I loved how you handle it. You walk up, you don't look well. When's the last time you had a physical? I think you should see a doctor. Because instead of saying, maybe you should drink some water, I feel like your heart is going to explode right now out of your chest and you're going to die. But you
so the other issue psychics run into on that is, I'm not feeling well. I think I'm being attacked psychically.
Well, before we get, so that's a whole nother subject because we're getting a little low on time and I want to get to our next activity.
We'll
so
have to have another Let's Talk.
We will have to obviously there's a lot we can talk around this.
I love it.
Before we move into our next part, I just wanted to say to those who have taken the time to listen, thank you for listening this far. If you have any questions or topics that you would like us to address, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Right now, our videos are not going to be edited, so hi. But as we learn these tools and how to use them properly, you might get a more polished look. But right now, you get what you get.
Right.
And a quick plug for our church. We are the Church of Peace and Spiritualist Center, NSAC. You can visit us at our website, churchofpeacespiritualistcenter.org. We are on Facebook, our Facebook page, Church of Peace and Spiritualist Center, NSAC. And you can also email us at churchofpeacespiritual@gmail.com. And all of that information should be somewhere on our YouTube page.
Also, follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram. I'm so excited. I'm starting to learn this whole Instagram. life. I'm a Gen Xer, you know,
Me
all this
too.
communicating with these people. It's a
I went to
lot. It's a lot.
college. Wait, I went to college with the typewriter, didn't you?
Oh, of course. Of course. I was doing MS DOS
Yep. The
to
first email
create
was this long.
a bear. And then I got one line wrong. Oh Lord. So anyway, and how we want to what I wanted to move into is me and Angela have talked about it ahead of time. We both agree. I mean, Angela, let's say we agreed that we're okay with this. We're going to give each other a quick reading to close out this section. And Angela, I'm going to give you the honor of psychic reading.
Yes.
Because while we've touched on mediumship, that's another episode because there's a lot more to that.
Great.
Okay. All right. So Angela.
So I'm going to touch on a couple of your, the core things. I'm going to talk about finance, job. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about future spirit for you, spiritualism. Okay. So the first one is finances. And I'm getting, actually, to be honest, you're finally at a plateau. They're saying that you could spend if you want to, but you're kind of okay where you're at. You almost got everything you need. You don't need anything more. I'm also getting too with them. They're showing me your energy. They're showing me you want little things. You don't want the big things anymore. You don't need them. You don't need them. But there's little things you find joy in. And you know what? That's okay, because summer's coming. We got a lot of flea markets. We got a lot of rummage sales. And it's just something to go see. And you're more interested in studying what you're getting or like where it's coming from. So I feel like not so much antiquing, but it can be on that route too, but it's just interesting stuff. So I'm getting a lot of things there. So money wise, I don't see you making any bigger purchases anytime soon. I don't really think you ever will. You're done. But the little things are what's going to bring you joy.
Okay, good.
And
good.
I also see too, financially, that everything's going great for you. I think you're going to enjoy this next period of just breathing in and not stressing, because
I'm loving it.
Finances can stress.
I'll take it.
Okay, next thing is the career. I'm getting that more roles are coming your way. I feel definitely that it's going to expand a little bit in your career zone. I'm getting to you're going to have more opportunity to be involved in different things coming into the career. So I'm almost getting like the job may move you to a different project, or I don't even know what you want to call it, case, whatever you do. And I'm getting that just a lot more other opportunities. And I like this for you because sometimes it can get mundane and boring.
Yes,
so
that's true. That is true.
I'm feeling like spirit hears you and says, okay, let's spice it up a little. I don't think it needs to be stressful, but you may make it stressful just because it's new. I got to figure this out.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's so me.
But I'm getting very excited for you on that level because it's new. New is always good. Okay. And then spiritual, I love this, they're blessing it. It's like, little fireworks going off, like, yay. But I also see you just expanding more spiritually, teaching more. I'm getting definitely you're changing a little of how you're going to view yourself. We as spiritualists mainly see ourselves as mediums because we can be psychic mediums also. But I also see more of you getting into other things, learning about new things, like, hey, I didn't learn about that, or and spirit's like, you're just having fun now.
I am. It is so true. I'm having a great time.
But I'm just loving everything. I'm excited for the summer for you. You're going to meet a lot of new people in your spiritual endeavors, and I feel like you're going to make a lot of new connections. I'm hoping that you actually want to travel more and get out more to just show your face in other places and let people just know how awesome you are, because spirit's really excited for you. I feel like there's a huge like party going on, like, yay, they're just like, it's about time. So I'm excited for you, and I want to leave you with that. So thank you for letting me share.
Well, thank you. Okay, may I come into your energy?
Sure.
All right. So unlike Angela, I don't go through all of that. I just go in and see what I got. So this is interesting. This is really interesting. So the first thing they press upon me is this feeling of like putting on your suit, putting on your business clothes, putting on your your walking shoes. I'm seeing the beautiful, high heeled, maybe not super high, but like the kitten heeled boots, because I know we at that age, we don't want to wear them high anymore. But these are some gorgeous boots. And I know that this is more symbolic than anything, but these boots are, I'm taking no prisoner. I'm not taking anything from anybody, and I'm stepping into the room, which translates for me is you're about to step into your power. And you're putting on your power suit, and it's
Ooh,
not red. It's not a red power suit.
you
No,
know I love my red. I love
I
my red.
know, but this is more of like a chocolate brown, maybe with a little
Ooh,
pinstripe.
earthy. No,
Yeah,
ooh,
very earthy. So this is a very earthy movement, a very grounded movement. It's a very solid decision. So whatever
awesome.
is coming up to you, whatever opportunity is about to be presented to you or may have already been presented to you, this is an opportunity for you to step in it and be grounded in it. Because yeah, they've got, and it's that silky satin blouse in the cream color with
Oh,
the wide lapel. I don't know why we're
oh.
going back to the 80s, but I think that's because we both love that look.
Yes, we do. Power suit.
Yeah, the power suit with but the cinch waist, and yeah, and and your hair is just fine. I mean, but you mean business. There's a confidence, there's a elegance, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a clear understanding that you have come into. You know who you are, you know what you're doing, and you know how you're going to get there, and you're not going to let anyone kind of deter you anymore, distract you from the path that you're on. And this is an opportunity that's coming for you to step into that power, because this is going to be a very strong decision
Ooh,
that's
I
going
love it.
to affect that's going to affect your life and everyone around you for years to come, should you make this decision. So this is not something you're going to do lightly. So, but should you make it, it's going to be phenomenal for you and those around you that support you.
Excellent.
But it is a power move. It's a power move that is really intentional for you. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, I'm also getting sunny, something about sun or something sunny. I'm feeling like there's a sun is kind of racing, like the late afternoon sun, and you feel that warmth kind of hitting your face. And
Mm.
again, the water, around water, somewhere around water, near water, and but there's this feeling of calm. There's this feeling of I let go, of a release that's happening around this water, and you feeling the bee of the summer heat, not necessarily the summer heat, but you're just feeling the sun's warmth. It's not burning or anything, it just feels good, and you're like, yes, this is me, this is my power. So really, this is a strong, at least the next few months, if not the whole year, opportunity for you to really tap into that power strength inside of you and bringing it out and sharing it with those around you, and to really expand and open. Now, if I was to go into what's holding you up, if I was to go into why you're not in it now, or are you in it now? They're also bringing me about your children. They're also bringing me in one side of about your children, and that they're going to be in awe. They're going to be in awe. And this is going to really help them with the decisions that they need to make. And that one child, and because I know things, I'm forcing myself to expand deeper into your soul's energy. Um, this is really going to be a turning point for not just you, but for your whole family. And it's going to be a positive turning point for your family. You've
Excellent.
already been offered it. Whatever it is, you already know what it is. And it must have been recent. It has to have been in the past couple of days. Um, and you just haven't verbalized it with the rest of the world yet. But it's already been presented to you, whatever this is. I get the feeling that you know what this is. Anything else you want to know? health wise, I see a strength. It's good. It feels good. They're making me feel good. They're saying, I mean, you could do this, you could do, but eh. But health wise, it's good. It's good. Financially, again, that's really tied into this opportunity. Um, spiritually, so for your spiritual movement and your spiritual growth and development, especially within spiritualism. Um, oh, so that's the power move.
Ooh, what?
It's spiritual related. Huh. Yeah. It's yeah. All the world's a stage. You're gonna be out there.
I
You're
hope
gonna be
so.
out there. You've got a lot of talking and sharing and teaching to do. And they're saying you are in the right, you are currently living in your purpose. You are in it. You're dead center in it.
Oh,
And
thank you.
and it's flowing. It's about to
Yeah.
just really gush. Not even flow, but gush. Gush. Um, they're saying that all you need to do though is just to allow it to gush. But
Yeah.
this is connected to what I was talking about earlier, your power suit, the chocolate brown with pinstripes. And,
I love it. I'm gonna have to buy one.
I know, right? I want to go buy one too. I'm like, I want the boots. I want the boots. It's like the pointy witchy toe boot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway,
Me and my boots. That's for
I
sure.
love some boots.
Hmm.
So did you have any questions for me before I
My biggest thing is I just love it. I just love everything. Recently, I did agree to serve over in the UK, so I'll do some international stuff. And my business is actually doing pretty okay right now, so I would love to see it do better, but I mean, that's okay. But other than that, I mean, just being on today to Let's Talk. I'm enjoying this and continuing to serve spirit any way I can. So no, I love it. Thank you for this amazing inspirational message. I love it.
there
Love
you
it, love it,
go.
love it. Yeah.
All right. So that concludes our first but not last. Let's talk with spirit.
There's so much to talk about.
We have so much to talk about. We'll probably be talking. We'll probably even try to create a couple extra videos for after we transition because we know you're going to miss us. But again, just to reiterate, check us across all social medias. There's links and everything on our YouTube page. Please comment what you want to see, what you enjoy, what you would like to see differently, what would you like us to talk about, and also just a plug for checking out our website because we do run events and different classes and events from different teachers, including each other. As a matter of fact, next month we will be hosting a tea time with the psychics where me and Angela are the psychics. And so the readings that you just saw us give each other, we can give to you. So check that out. It's on Eventbrite. Also, we're on Eventbrite, so you can just follow us on Eventbrite, and that way you'll be notified whenever we have new events. And of course, we have services every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Um, feel free to also sign up on Eventbrite or reach out to the church or what have you. We would love to have you.
We
Again,
also have Mediumship Development Circle.
that's every third Thursday of the month. And then we do a Let's Talk in person every fourth Thursday of the month. So if you want to like be live in person having this conversation, again, all of this information and stuff should be either website, email, across all of the social medias.
Excellent.
So anything else you wanted to add, Angela, before we
I just hope they follow us because we have so many great things coming up. We have that research society, psychical research science society. We have a healing Sunday morning,
that's right.
last Sunday thing. We have so many awesome guest speakers and teachers. And I mean, it's just exciting how fast we're growing. And I just love all the new people showing up on all of our venues, especially our social media. So I'm excited and I hope to see more people.
Yes. So good night. Stay safe. It may not be good night for you. It's good night for us because it's late for us. But So whenever you're watching this, stay safe, be kind, and thank you for being present.